Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Y'all, when I sat down and started telling myself I need to do an updated top 5 favorite foundation video, I went to look at when my last one was, and it was almost 2 years ago. In May, it will be 2 years. How have I let it go this far? I have no idea. But I do have an updated top 5, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to show you my top 5. I'm going to cut away to me applying them so you can see what they look like fresh on the face. I have on the same exact SPF with every single one of those demos, so that will not change how the foundation looks at all. And if I can stop myself from rambling too terribly much, I'm also going to tell you my number 6 through 10 at the end of the video, but I'm just going to hold them up and tell you what they are. I'm not going to go into any great detail. So this is in no particular order. You're going to see I have a couple of brands that I tend to gravitate towards more than others. And if you've watched my channel for any amount of time, you will likely be able to tell what those are right now before I even start. The first of those brands is Chantecaille. So I'm going to talk about 2 foundations from them that I absolutely adore. One of which is the Future Skin Cushion Skincare Foundation. So it comes in this beautiful compact. It is a cushion foundation, so there's usually like a little puff in here, but I don't use that. And then you open it and you've got the actual product. Now I'm in the shade Nude, and I like to apply this with a sponge, a damp sponge. And I will just press it into the compact and then stipple it onto the face. Now this foundation comes in only 8 shades. And that most of the time is something that I would say is not good. However, this is such a sheer foundation. When I first applied it, when I first got it and applied it onto the skin, I was like, am I even applying anything? Is anything going onto my skin? And then it was like magic. It just blurred everything, and it still didn't look like I had anything on, but it perfected my skin in the best way. So because it is incredibly sheer and self-adapting, now that's me saying that, not necessarily a marketing claim, but I do feel like it adapts to your skin tone. I find that it can get away with only having 8 shades because within each shade, you're going to get a plethora of skin tones. For instance, I know someone who has probably 2 to 3 times darker skin than I have that also wears nude. So that just goes to show you how much it spans skin tones. Now, this is definitely the most expensive foundation that I'm going to be talking about. In fact, it has gone up in price along with everything else, I feel like, since it first launched, and is now $139. Now, Chantecaille very often runs sales, so definitely get on their mailing list, keep an eye out, follow me on Instagram because I talk about them a lot. Follow me on here. I try to keep y'all up to date on their sales. But I also love Chantecaille as a brand because they're very philanthropic. They give back to so many organizations, and this particular foundation gives back to the Sheldrick Wildlife Trust. And that is an elephant trust. So every cushion that you purchase feeds a baby orphan elephant a bottle of milk. And I'm sorry, but who does not want to help baby orphan elephants? They're just so precious. So because Chantecaille products really perform very well for me, very well, I would not suggest something that was $139 if it did not perform beautifully. But because they also give back, I don't have as big of an issue spending the money. Now this one is a water-based foundation. It still does have silicone in it, but it is water-based. And I'm telling you, there is nothing that looks more like skin in my entire collection than this foundation. So out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, this is definitely the most skin-like. And I do feel like pretty much all skin types can wear this. This is also one of the very few foundations that I can safely say, as a person that loves powder, doesn't have to be set. I can wear this with no powder. I have no issue, and it just looks so flawless on the skin. Now, the next Chantecaille foundation that I'm going to talk about is the Future Skin Gel Foundation. So I am also in the shade Nude in this, and this is a beautiful oil-free gel foundation that's made of 60% water. It has a very cooling effect on the skin. It can be applied with your fingers. It can be applied with a brush. You could use a sponge. The sponge is probably my least favorite way to apply this, but it has aloe and arnica in it, which are very soothing ingredients. It also has rosemary and green tea, which are antioxidant ingredients. It's got a lot of calming ingredients in it because I do feel like that's what it does for my skin. It feels good going on because it has that cooling effect. It looks like skin, but it is definitely more on the luminous side than the cushion foundation. So it does leave a little bit of a glow, which is absolutely gorgeous. And I know I have waxed poetic about this in how many videos, I don't know, since I started doing this probably about 5 months ago. But this particular product is hands down my favorite concealer of all time. Yes, it's marketed as a foundation. Yes, it works beautifully under the eyes. And so many of y'all have said that you either had this in your collection, you tried it under the eyes, or you bought it specifically to try under the eyes. Love it. Yes, this is an $89 foundation. Again, it is on the more expensive side, especially if you're getting it for concealer. However, it is something that is way bigger than most other marketed concealers, so it's going to last you a ton of time. This comes in 15 shades. Again, I'm in the shade Nude. I carry this in my kit. I love it. Love it. Especially if you are wanting more of like a light to medium coverage. I don't have any issues with this wearing. I don't have any issues with the wear on any of these. They would not be in my favorites if I did. Very, 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 very beautiful. Not only as a foundation, which is why it has a spot in my top 5, but definitely as a concealer. Now let's go to the next brand, which I know y'all know what this is going to be. Jane Iredale, probably my favorite brand of all time. And to me, they just don't go wrong when it comes to base products. But I do have 2 that are my absolute favorite. The first that I'm going to talk about is a newly reformulated version of an old time favorite. And this is the HydroPure Tinted Serum. Now, I talked about loving the liquid minerals for years now, which is what this replaced just a few months ago. I have done a comparison of this and the original on my channel if you want to search that out. And while I said if I had to choose, I probably prefer the original, I still absolutely adore this product. This is actually what I have on my skin today. I have the Purepressed powder over it. I love any powder that I use over it. I love not putting a powder over it. It is very sheer. Out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, it has the least amount of coverage. So this is not marketed as a foundation. Again, they call it a tinted serum because it has little tiny beads that have the pigment in it, but they're encapsulated in a base of skincare. So aloe vera, CoQ10, hyaluronic acid, glycerin, lots of hydrating ingredients. So this is very hydrating. However, it is not as luminous as the original. So even though I have always said that I don't necessarily recommend the liquid minerals for oily skin, if you have oily skin and you've wanted to try this, this is going to be a better option for you because it does dry down a little bit more matte than the original formula. They also went from 13 shades to 7 shades. And if you're familiar with the Fitzpatrick scale, they did that to kind of match that. So if you know your kind of Fitzpatrick number on the scale, then that's the number you're going to want to go with in this. And again, it is so sheer to light that each one is going to encapsulate lots of skin tones. This is $58. I get all of my Jane Iredale from Harbin House, which I have a discount code with. They also have Jane Iredale and Derm Store, which I also have a discount code for. So you should never have to pay full price for this product, but it's worth every single penny. I love it very, very, very much. I go through these very fast because I use it so much. So I am in the shade medium 4, and in the original, I was in suntan. Another Jane product that is my favorite foundation. I love this so much. This is the Purepressed Base. This was the foundation that was in my most worn makeup look from 2022 because I certainly use this the most. It is very, very easy. It's one that I choose to travel with a lot because I don't have to put anything under it. These 2 products, however, are glorious together, but I certainly don't need it. This has very good coverage. It's medium to buildable full coverage. It is a powder foundation, but if you have dry skin, I don't want you to be scared to use it because it will still work. Now, if you want something that's very luminous, I would go with the Amazing Base from Jane Iredale, which I have reviews on that one and this one as well separately if you wanted to search my channel, but this one is just the most versatile. I can use it as a setting powder. I can use it by itself. Most often I use it by itself. It's very fast. I will use the Jane Iredale handy brush with it. You most certainly don't have to, but this is my favorite brush to use with it, and just kind of swipe some stripes on my face and I have medium to full coverage right off the bat. You can build it up. I do like to use my palmist spray to kind of set it down onto the skin, which you will have already seen in the demo. And it really looks beautiful. It's one of the powder foundations that I have in my collection that really does look like skin, especially when you're done with all the steps and set it down with the hydrating mist. I just can't recommend it enough. I don't think there is a single age that can't wear this. I know some people, as they get to a certain age, they've been told all their life, don't use any powder, but especially powder foundation. That's going to look horrible on your face. Absolutely not. I carry 5 or 6 shades of this in my kit, and I often use them on mothers and even grandmothers of the bride. They are beautiful. So don't discount it because you've been told not to use powders, because this is not just any powder. This does come in 26 shades, so it definitely has more options than most of the Jane Iredale base products. And there are a couple of different prices. It's going to be $57 if you want this compact, which is refillable, by the way. And there's a little place in the back that you can pop it out. And if you just want the refill, if you already have the compact, or if you have a metal palette or something that you can put it in, that's going to be $46. Again, that's before the discount. These do have SPF in them, either SPF 20 or SPF 15, depending on the shade. I do not rely on this as my only SPF, and I do not recommend you doing so either. I know some people do, and that's their choice, but that is not a recommendation for me. I always have a separate SPF underneath. And then the last kind of Lone Ranger all by itself with its own little brand that I'm going to talk about is from Lancome, and this is the Teint Idole Stick Foundation. Now, I did a whole video where I talked about this, the original Teint Idole, and the newest Teint Idole Care and Glow Foundation. I used them all and compared them all, and I think out of all of them, this is the one that gets my #1 spot. I love it so much. I have 2 different shades. My shade for this time of year is 260 Bisque Neutral, which is also my shade in the liquid Teint Idole. It does come in 22 shades, and this has no fragrance. It's actually got a very small ingredient list. I prefer to take a brush and pick up the product from the stick and then stipple it onto the skin, but I have, striped it on the skin and blended out that way as well. I feel like I use too much product when I do it that way. I feel like when I take it from the actual stick and then buff it onto my skin, I don't waste as much product, and it just is this beautiful medium to full coverage foundation that, again, is easy to travel with. These 2 are my most used foundations when I travel because they're so easy. And this kind of dries down to a little bit of a powder finish, so you don't really necessarily have to powder. If you have oily skin, I probably would. And out of all of the ones that I've talked about, I feel like this is the one that I would recommend the most for oily skin, followed by the Purepressed. But if you don't want a powder foundation, this is definitely the one that I would recommend. It's easy. It always looks good. It wears forever, and I love it so very much. So those are my top 5 favorite foundations at the moment, and have been for quite a while now, since it's been 2 years since I did the last one. But I am going to run down my number 6 through 10. I could very easily live the rest of my life with the top 5. I could very easily live the rest of my life with 1. Let's be real. But as someone who loves makeup, I do have 6 through 10 favorites. I probably could even go through 11 through 15, but I'm not going to. And these are in no particular order. You can definitely search my channel for videos that I have used these in if you want to see them in action. Some of them I even have separate reviews on. NARS Soft Matte Foundation. This is glorious, especially if you have oily skin, and I feel like it gets a bad rap because you need the tiniest amount. If you use too much, you are not going to like it, but it is absolutely beautiful and one of my favorite foundations to mix with illuminators for the most perfect long-lasting finish you could ask for. And this is also in my kit. I love it so much. Cali Ray Free Dreaming Skin Wellness Diffusing Tint. One of my favorite discoveries of 2022. I do have a separate video reviewing this, and it is a beautiful medium coverage, lightweight, serum type foundation that's very easy to apply, and again, never looks bad. Lancome Teint Idole Ultra Rare Regular Foundation, the original, the one that has been around for so long and is loved by so many for a reason. This is not matte on my skin, even though it is marketed as a matte foundation. It looks so beautiful. I love pairing this with my amazing base from Jane Iredale. The combination is perfection, and it always works well. You can see this is like my second bottle, and I'm probably halfway done. I am in 260 Bisque Neutral in this as well. The Jane Iredale Beyond Matte Liquid Foundation, I'm in the shade M8, and I have recently done a separate video on this, and again, it's Jane Iredale. It's a base product, so I love it. And then finally, the Beauty Pie Great Skin Foundation. I don't talk about this as much on camera. A lot of these, maybe I don't talk about as much on camera because I'm constantly trying new things. But if I were to do Old Loves video, like some of these Shop My Stash videos, I need to use this again because I use it very, very often and I love it. I'm in the shade 300 Beige. Beautiful, very affordable. I think it's like $14. And it is just a very natural looking medium to possibly even full coverage, but really just a straight medium coverage foundation that again works with everything. I can use an illuminator in with it, under it. I can use a luminous powder. I can use a matte powder. It doesn't matter. It works and lasts and looks good every single time. So that is a roundup of my number 6 through 10. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions. And as always, share with me and everybody else that loves to kind of spend time in the comment section what your favorite foundation is, or your top 5, because, you know, we love options. I will have everything listed and linked down in the description box below. Please be sure and like and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. And I hope you all go out and have a very blessed day.